Hey Postables, you're listening to Deliver Me a Podcast, brought to you by Casey, Jess, and Cami. A special thanks to James Jandrish for letting us use the music on our show. Now, grab some Yoo-Hoo or a kombucha, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, Postables, and welcome back to Deliver Me a Podcast. We've had a little bit of a hiatus, but we're so excited to be back today talking about one of my personal favorite movies starring our very own Eric Mabius.
Signed, sealed, delivered. Oh, wait.
No.
Whoops.
Eric Mabius with Brooke Dorsey, How to Fall in Love. So, this was actually the first time I saw Eric, was this movie. What about you guys? Did you see him here first or signed, sealed, delivered?
Signed, sealed.
Here. How to fall in love. Seeing him in How to Fall in Love is what got me interested in Signed, Sealed. I said, oh, it's that guy from How to Fall in Love. Yeah, this will be good. This will be good. And then it was like, oh, he's playing another stiff, nerdy kind of guy. Okay, he apparently plays this role very well.
Yes, the characters are very similar in temperament for sure. But let's dive right in.
Not vocabulary per se, but I mean, put Oliver in glasses and you've got Harold pretty close anyway. So
do we feel like young Harold would like young Oliver? Did anybody have that thought?
Oh,
anybody go?
Oh, he would totally.
I don't know, because wasn't young Oliver supposed to be a little bit more rebellious?
Not really, because he started. I mean, he left home, but he wasn't rebellious, and he was still really old fashioned, and he started not wanting to go outside from a very early age. So
I pictured young Oliver a little different, I guess.
Apparently I pictured him wrestling in high school, so that's the thing.
So nothing.
When he took off his coat, I think it's because he took off his coat and threatened to beat up the guy that pickpocketed his son.
He did not threaten to beat anybody up. He just said, I'm going to give you a choice. You can give it back or you can get by me. You can get by me. But there is no way that guy was ever going to.
I think Oliver O'Toole would surprise us, but we're digressing.
There's a little more rebellion in him than we think. But anyway, this is not about Oliver O'Toole. This is about a man named Harold. And we've lost Cami.
Harold White. Harold White. No, I'm here. Harold White.
Okay, so the movie starts with a flashback from 20 years prior when Harold is going to the homecoming and he thinks that he has a date, and Annie is his date. But it turns out that she wanted them all to go as a group, that she did not believe that this was going to be a one-on-one. We're going as a couple. So it's a little bit of a sad beginning for Harold. And then we quickly flash forward. And Harold is an accountant and he has a passion for photography. And Annie is a struggling event planner who lives with her sister and needs to go find a job because she's not finding any luck with the event planning at all.
Poor thing.
Yes. Poor thing.
Poor dear. So can I just say really quickly about the beginning, did you find it at all ironic that the transition from the past to the present was the camera flash from Mom's camera, given the fact that Harold has such a passion for photography?
Oh, I thought that was a fine little choice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought that it was. I was like, oh, I caught that this time around. You know,
Mhm.
because it's very subtle. We don't know he's into photography yet.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely a very clever choice to kind of put that little breadcrumb in there for Harold's passion. And so we also learned something else about Harold. He has this crush that he sees he has crushed on this girl in the coffee shop, but he never has the nerve to ask her out because he's very socially awkward. He's very shy, and honestly, Harold just does not think well of himself. He still sees himself as that awkward boy who basically got rejected at homecoming.
oh my gosh, that is one of the saddest parts of the whole movie when Annie tells him to look in the mirror and tell her what he sees. And it flashes back. Can I just say, Rowan Kahn, he is adorable as young Harold. You know, he's just precious. Anyway, so flashes back to his younger self, and he says, I see the guy who stayed home every Friday night doing his homework. I'm like, oh, that poor kid. It's so sad. It's so sad
Yeah.
that he still cannot. And you know, and she says, Harold, snap out of it. Your awkward
You're
years are
scaring me.
your awkward years are over. No, his awkward years are not over. His physically awkward years are over, but you know, but your awkward years are over. Put it behind you. And it was just like, thank you for saying that, Annie, because he needed that so much.
Yeah, he was like really stuck there for a bit because I don't know about y'all, but high school was a while. It's been a few years. I don't know that I have those triggering moments from high school, but then again, I did have a decent high school experience.
Yeah.
Okay, I loved high school, but that's just me.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Harold's friend Willie, who I think is an awesome character.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, he's so much fun.
I love Willie.
He says, yo, dude, you need a dating coach because you
He
can't even ask
says it
out
like
this girl.
it is.
You can't ask this girl at the coffee shop and you need help. So,
Yeah. And Harold needs a lot of help.
yeah. And so he goes to see this coach, and as Harold puts it, she was more interested in making a sale. So he's like, no, this isn't gonna work.
Not gonna
but
fly.
then he runs into Annie at the diner, and they kind of get to talking a little bit, and then later Annie is looking for a second job, and this is how she becomes his dating coach. But before we get there, I want to talk a little bit about Annie's sister Claire. How do y'all feel about Claire?
As a big sister, I don't blame her. Because
Maybe
sometimes
as a younger sister,
siblings
I
need to
thought
kick in
she
the
was
rear.
really rude.
But here's the thing, though. Like, Annie was basically kind of, I don't know. Annie to me reminds me of somebody who's like, go with the flow. Like, I don't want to stereotype, but I'm going to because I'm an older child. She's a youngest child who's just like kind of a space cadet and like
youngest child here.
Child here. And I'm a
oldest child, so I will say it.
I'm a real youngest child. See, Jess only has one older sister. I've got 5 older brothers.
See, I'm exactly in the role of Annie and her sister Claire.
Okay, point taken.
So I identify.
I'm kind of saying it a little tongue-in-cheek, to be honest with you. But from an older sister perspective, if my younger sibling was living with me and was not did not have ambition to go do the things, like I have these things, I have moments with my sibling, my brother, where I'm just like, bro, like, come on. And so I don't blame her. And here's the thing, and I will say this again as an oldest child, we have our flaws. We're too blunt. We're mean. We're bullies. So There you go. You have the truth coming from Casey.
Okay.
Would I have done that? Probably yes. Would I have felt bad? Oh yeah, definitely. But I totally understand.
My problem with it was she gives her this like come to Jesus moment where she's like, face reality, no free rides, grow up. She says this right after Annie gets the diner job. Like Annie is trying. And then she just like hits her like, she's trying. She got a job. What more do you want from her?
I think it's also the fact that like Annie she's just going with stuff. Like there's no real pathway. And I feel like as an older sibling, if I saw my younger sibling just jump from job to job, oh, I'll try this, oh, I'll try this, and I know that they have a lot of talent and passion and fervor for other things, and they're not going to their fullest potential, like I probably would do the same. I mean, to be honest, I'd probably be like, come on, let's go.
I don't know. I still don't think I would kick my sister out of the house or that she would kick me out of the house. Like that's pretty much what she was doing or where she was going.
All right. Okay. So here's the thing.
Can you lay it on us?
Yeah, I'm laying it on you because I'm a youngest child in my family and I am the oldest in-law I'm the oldest in-law in my husband's family. So I've had, and the youngest brother was 10 when we got married. So I've watched a lot of these kids grow up, and I will come out right now and say that I will see some of them make some choices that I just go, are you joking me? You know, and so that's the Claire in me. So I am, and I'm not saying this just to be on the fence, but I literally do think that I can see it from both perspectives. I will say the first time I watched this movie, I was totally with Annie. I was like, Claire, what is the problem with you, girl? And when her husband said, are you sure that you're not just punishing her for being the baby? And I was like, yeah, man. You know?
Okay. When that happened, I was like, oh, he's right. But I think real quick on our dynamics, I do think it's interesting too, because like Jess, you and your sister are probably like the family dynamics probably similar in that regard. For me,
Right.
I have a younger brother, so that's different. And then Cammie, you're the only girl, so that's even different, even though you are the youngest. So like there are all these little facets of like our perspectives, which I think is very interesting. But yeah, I had the opposite reaction with Claire because I very much I identify with her.
So I thought that there were a couple of times where Claire needed to shut her mouth. I was like, okay, honey, you can just hush now. And when her husband said, are you sure that this isn't payback? And I just went, But then on the other hand, looking at Annie, I'm just like, girl, get it together. You are not in high school anymore. You are not in college anymore. You know, and she'd been there for what, 3 months? You know, and I'm just like, come on. You know, I mean, I'll come
I didn't see that as a long period of time. And I think if they had made it longer, I would have understood more.
Yeah, I don't see that as a really long period of time. But as somebody who also lived with my mom as a married woman, do I have to say any more? You know, I mean, my husband and I were actively trying to get out and get our own home, and we just couldn't. And there were nights when I would lie awake just going, oh, when are we going to get out of here? How can we get out of here? What more can I do? And my mom would just say, well, you chill. You know, it's okay. And we finally did afford our own home, and it was the best feeling to be able to be our own family, to have our own home, and, you know, to actually feel like a grown-up. I told my husband, I said, we are getting our own home before I turn 40, because I am not turning 40 and living with my mother. You know? So we got plenty of cushion time. So I see both sides. long story short, I see both sides. There were a lot of times where Claire was pushing in, and it kind of reminded me of my brother. I'm just like, I'm having this conversation with my brother in my head. But Annie was just la la la. And the other thing was she kind of shows her true colors when Claire wants to talk to her, and she's like, "Is this about my dirty dishes in the sink? Borrowing your sweater without asking?" Yeah, and I was like, "Why are you doing that stuff if you're trying to stay in her good graces?" So, yeah, I think Claire needed to back off, but I think Annie needed to grow up. So,
But I also think too, from a story perspective, it makes it better that they are flawed characters. Because how boring would this movie be if Claire's sister was like, "Oh, honey, it's fine.
you can stay as long as you like."
Right. Like Annie would have never learned anything, and we would have been like, "Oh, that's not realistic."
Yeah. So I have two more things to say on this, and then I'll shut up and we'll move on. But one, I think it wouldn't have bothered me so much if she had just like if Claire had handled it a little bit. I think it's just the way she came about it, because I do understand like she wants her sister to succeed and grow. I totally get that, but it was just the way she was like, "You need to grow up, face reality." Like that's so harsh. Like
yeah. That's why I think that Claire needed to shut her mouth several times. I'm just like, okay.
And my
ease
second
off,
point,
baby.
my second point is I hate that there's this like I was listening to this podcast. This is way off topic, but whatever. By Jennifer Fulwiler, and she studied anthropology and talked about how we live very contrary to how older civilizations live, because families stayed together, they stayed in a community, they took care of each other. And I hate this idea of like if you live with a family member, or if you know what I mean, you rely on each other, that's a bad thing. So anyway, that's off
Just
topic.
look at the Waltons.
Well, Filipinos are like that.
So
Yeah.
Multi-generational families, or they all live together. My cousin is 40 and lives with her mom still, but I mean, they have a split level house, so it's almost like she's got her apartment downstairs and her mom lives upstairs. But it's not unheard of in the Philippines. They all live in clans.
right. But you have to pull your weight. Like it's not like anyone's like just doing nothing. That's the thing. You all have to pull your weight.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But
that's the Latin culture as well. We saw it all the time when I lived in Nicaragua. So, yeah.
All right. Moving on from our 15-minute
wow. That was a rampage.
We all got really, really passionate. So Annie gets her second job as Harold's dating coach. So she sells this idea to a very reluctant Harold, but he eventually agrees. And we begin with lesson 1, self-confidence. And that gets us into the Harold, you look in the mirror and say your finer qualities, and he can't think of any. And she's
Not
like,
a
Harold,
single one.
you're scaring me here. Say, I look good with confidence. I look good.
Eric's performance right there, classic. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I look good. I can't even do it with a serious face.
This whole that whole sequence just makes me smile so much.
Yeah,
because he needs it. He
does.
We kind of have this idea, that we don't want to be vain. We don't want to sit there and talk good about ourselves all the time. But Harold is to the point where he's self-depreciating, like you said, Kimmy. He only sees his perceived flaws, and he can't think of anything good about himself. And so he needs this little booster of yeah, I have a great smile.
Well, and the great thing about Annie is she finds those good qualities. I remember watching this for the first time. I said to myself, could I do that? Because I know of a couple of people who were complete nerds when I was in high school. No. Well, I didn't know you in high school, Jess.
Cammy, let me just stop you right there. I was a complete nerd in high school. We shouldn't be surprised.
Okay, fine. but I'm talking about guys.
Okay.
Just no social skills around girls. They could not have gotten a date to save their lives because they were so socially awkward. And I said to myself while watching this, I'm like, could I take one of those guys and turn him into a heartthrob? Oh gosh, I don't know. But Harold had those amazing qualities that were just waiting to come out. I mean, tell me, please, what normal red-blooded woman in her right mind would not absolutely adore the fact that he loves all the old love songs? Hello!
Well, clearly, Julie.
Oh my gosh! So he loves all the old love songs. He's a superb cook. I'm just like, okay, so he needs to learn how to talk to girls. He's got traits to back it up.
Mhm.
And that was something that I was not quite sure about some of the guys I knew in high school. I'm just like, do you guys have the traits to back it up now? Because you didn't back then. So. But yeah, Harold's got the goods. He just needs to learn how to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta believe in himself. And then they exercise, and Annie keeps quizzing him, so he does know his qualities. Tell me 5 things you like about yourself. Go.
The exercise montage is beautiful.
It really is.
So fun.
The exercise and clothing montage.
Yes. Oh, those outfits. Some of those are bad.
Oh man, what was it? That leather jacket. I'm just like, whoa.
Yellow one I did not like.
Yeah. No.
I don't think yellow is many people's color. It's definitely not my color. I just don't like yellows.
I mean, he did kind of look like a bumblebee, but in a way, I kind of thought it was cute. I was like, I'd go on a date with that guy. Yellow button-up shirt with black slacks. I'd go on a date with him.
This was filmed in 2012, or this came out in 2012. So, time period. Early
Yeah.
2010.
Yes. Yes. So he gets his mini makeover. And that brings us to lesson 2, breaking the ice. Oh dear, sweet Harold.
Like I said, he needs to learn how to talk to girls.
Bless his heart.
Well, in his defense, she kind of throws him to the wolves. She brings him to a club, which for a socially awkward person
mean.
It's a little rough. Like, you just bring him to a club and like, go ask that girl out. I'm like, okay, poor Harold.
I guess it's one of those things where you're like, sink or swim. Here you go.
And
but for people who have social anxiety, that is like a death sentence. Like, there was no way he was going to succeed.
Okay, that is okay. Good point there. Is Harold is he just socially awkward, or do we think he also suffers from a little bit of social anxiety? Because there is a difference. There is a big difference. Because I can sometimes at different times suffer from social anxiety, especially when it's like new people I'm with, or people there's like too many people or whatever. Like, I overcompensate for myself, but then my heart's like racing and I'm like, oh my gosh, can we be done now?
I don't think he has. I mean, that's not the impression I got. I don't think he has social anxiety, because after he said everything that Annie told him to say, he literally had nothing else to say. And he just turned around and went back to Annie. I'm just like, oh, dude, you can't do anything on your own, can you? So I really do think that he is just that bad. So I didn't get that vibe. That I didn't get the social anxiety vibe.
Yeah, they didn't really give us, I guess, enough to like make us think that he was, if he was. But it was so funny though when she's like, Harold, I didn't think I needed to tell you that you have to make some conversation after. 1, introduce yourself. 2, make some conversation. 3, ask her out. 1, 2, 3. Foolproof system here, guys.
So can we just talk about really quick the scene where Harold meets Willie for golf, and they're talking about how bad, Willie's saying how bad his golf game is and how Harold hasn't missed anything because he's not getting any better. And then he looks over at him and he goes, "Whoa, what happened?" And like, "Oh, traffic." But no, what happened to you? And then he even says, "Women are gonna be all over you." and he golfs better too.
Everything's just fallen right into place.
Well, kind of.
Kind of. We're getting there.
There are still some hurdles, but yeah.
Well, I mean, when you dress good and when you feel good, you dress good, and when you dress good, you perform better. That's why they always say, for young people listening, I don't know if any of you are still in school, but if you are taking a test, dress up.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're studying, eat blueberries. That helps your mental mind too. But anyways, yeah, dress up and you do better.
Your mental mind, huh, Casey?
Your mental mind.
It's been a long day, y'all. It's been a long day. You know what I meant.
Our brains are still freezing.
But anyway, so after the club scene, they have to do some extra credit because Harold needs a lot of extra credit. And they have that I feel like for me was the first spark that they had when she told him to say something nice but sincere, and he was like, "How about you have beautiful eyes?" And it felt real. And that was like the first spark between them.
Yeah,
like, this is moving somewhere else.
Yeah, because he kind of stands up, he prepares himself, and
very Oliver-like.
Yeah, and he tilts his head and gazes right at her and says, "You have beautiful eyes," and she's completely caught off guard and just gazing. You can almost hear it. You can almost hear a giggle come out of her mouth. It doesn't quite get there, and then he goes, "How was that?" Well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't say how was that, but he walks away, and she goes, "Good. That
almost
real."
Yeah.
It's just like somebody's getting affected.
Yep. And Harold is learning because right after that, he goes to the coffee shop and he gets Julie's number, although technically she asked him out, but we'll let it slide. He gets her number. It's all good. He gets her number.
He started the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
He started the conversation.
He introduced himself. He made some conversation, and then she asked him out. So technically, the 1, 2, 3 system did happen. Okay, it wasn't all him, but it happens. And this brings us to lesson number 3, the art of conversation, which is a 2-step process. Ask questions and listen. Very simple.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those questions should not be, "What are your career goals, Harold?" It's not a job interview.
I feel like I'm at a job interview. Kathy and Jimmy. Oh my gosh. Kathy and Jimmy was such a great addition to this movie. I'm so glad that she did it because it was just so fun.
Yes, so Harold has to learn a little bit about appropriate questions, but he is able to take Julie out to drinks, and we begin to see that Harold and Julie have very different interests.
Mm-hmm.
Julie's really an adventurous spirit. She wants to go out and do things. She likes monster movies. She's very, but that's not a bad thing that they have different interests. But we're going to see later why it's a bad thing. But we'll get there. All right, so that brings us to lesson 4, which is to start sharing, which is all about sharing your passions and what moves you. And for, I almost said Oliver, for Harold, this is his photography. That is really his big passion. This is photography.
I find it so interesting that with the start sharing lesson, he starts sharing with Annie.
Mm-hmm.
He does most of the sharing with Annie. He shares a little bit. He shares a little bit with Julie, but most of the sharing is
Mhm.
done with Annie. He said he shows her his photos that he's taken and that he's printed and that are really important for him. He cooks for her, and he's trying out all of these recipes on her. It's just like,
Mhm.
you're who are you supposed to be sharing with?
And that's really the genius of the writing of this movie, is that as Annie is teaching him these lessons, she's simultaneously proving that she's the one for him and that she's the one who gets him, but she doesn't even realize that's what she's doing. Like, she's not inauthentic about it. She genuinely does take interest in what he's sharing with her. She's like
Yeah.
proving her own point the whole time. It's really funny.
Yeah,
And really clever.
it helps that he's practicing with her. So,
Mhm.
I mean,
well,
they can't help but fall in love.
let's make a list here. Candlelit dinners, gorgeous photos. His favorite movie is Casablanca. Loves vintage love songs. I repeat, is there any normal woman who has red blood
Julie.
who would not like this?
Julie.
Julie was written to not like this. I'm just like, would you get a romantic bone in your body, Julie? What is your deal? Sorry, that was a little, I was sharing my passion a little too much.
Cam is getting passionate. Whew.
When it comes to romance.
But speaking of romance, lesson 5, make her feel special. And as Annie says, you want to make her special as well as to move. You want to start moving to being a little more serious now that you're starting to get to know each other. And so he's thinking of Julie. He knows she likes the city, and he suggests, okay, I could do a romantic dinner for her in the city. And then Annie, of course, says, we should go there first and check it out. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sure, Annie. Let's go there and check it out.
Wink, wink.
Because she's already falling for him by this point, and she knows it. Like, we know Annie is already there.
Annie is by the river called Denial. So.
But yeah, so they go there and they begin to talk about the homecoming. This is the first of 2 kind of bigger conversations they have about it. And I have a big question about this, but I'm going to save it for the second time they talk about it.
Okay.
So this first time they just really talk about, she remembers, I think, that they danced and they did not dance. And he tells her about that, and she feels really bad and apologizes. And so this is their first awkward conversation about homecoming. How'd you guys feel about this first conversation about it?
Her line about, I didn't make you feel that way, did I? That is classic grown-up popular girl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Does not remember anything, completely disregarded him in high school because she was one of the popular girls.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because I feel like in the flashback they don't make her feel like that kind of snotty popular girl. It's more just clueless.
I don't think she was snotty. I just think that she just was not interested one iota in him.
Yeah. So she reminded me of a popular ditzy girl. I really think that Annie, even as young Annie, deep down, her heart is just a kind, nice person. However, I think she's just very ditzy. I mean, even as an adult, she's like, da-da-da-da. And you're like, and I mean, another reason why I feel like she is just kind of ditzy is because she thought she danced with Harold. Like, you would remember those things. You know what I'm saying? There are certain things from high school that you would remember. I don't remember every little detail, but I sure can tell you who I went to different like events with and like different things that happened or funny moments or things that stand out. Like, I would remember if I danced with the dude.
Your date. Or the guy who was supposed to be your date. But yeah, I thought it was a classic popular girl who has grown up. She totally disregarded him in high school, she remembered everything wrong because she just it left her brain completely. But she does feel bad for being kind of a rude person and not. And now she's just feeling very guilty. Oh my gosh, I did that. Oh, so she's horrified at herself, which is good. It gives me hope for her.
It's a redemptive moment for her.
It is
very redemptive.
It is. It is a redemptive
she apologizes.
moment.
She realizes, wow, I really hurt him.
Yeah,
and she didn't even know that she did it because she even made the comment. I think it was earlier in the movie. I just thought he was a nobody. And I was like, Harold, not a nobody.
Harold is not a nobody.
Harold, I would have gone to homecoming with you back then, just so you know. We could have been two nerds awkwardly there together.
I was about to say, you were a nerd too, so you would have gotten along great.
It would have been great. We've both been awkward and had no idea what to do. So, our next lesson number 6, getting close.
Getting close.
Yeah. But so when she comes over for this lesson, she comments on his new pictures. She's paying attention, showing that she takes interest in his stuff. And then they have to talk about the art of kissing.
Oh, man.
And her advice is to use your eyes. When you're talking to a girl, if she's looking at you the same way, she's giving you the green light. And then they kiss. And holy moly, I needed a fan. Like, this moment.
I'm sorry. What?
I know.
You needed what?
I needed a fan. It was getting hot in there.
Casey? Casey, we got her.
It took 46 episodes, but we finally broke Jess.
We broke her.
Yeah, it was intense, guys. And then, but
for real though, it was intense.
Hot.
Thank you.
The first time I saw this, now I had seen Signed, Sealed, Delivered, so I was like, okay, and then I've seen all the Hallmark stuff, and there's always the interrupted kiss. So I was like, oh, it's gonna get interrupted. The stove's gonna go off or whatever. And then they get closer, and I'm like, what?
And that was okay. That was not a practice kiss. That was a kiss.
That was a kiss.
That was something.
Yeah,
I had to pause it because I was now on the floor.
You need to savor this.
I was shook, y'all. I was so shook. This was also filmed in 2012. This would not happen in a Hallmark movie in 2021.
But see, here's the great thing about it. There was nothing yucky about it. There was nothing that made it like, okay, guys, nothing made me want to look away. Didn't get horribly uncomfortable or anything like that. It was just a really, really good kiss. It was sultry.
Steamy? Slinky?
No, not slinky. It was not slinky. It was not slinky. It was steamy. Movie, it was not slinky.
I mean, for a Hallmark movie, this kiss ranks up there. Especially for two people who aren't supposed to be in love. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
All the hot, steamy kisses on Hallmark are with already established couples.
That's
Annie and
true.
Harold are not established. And woo! Bless up.
And then I love the quick exchange at the end. It was great. Oh, I mean, you did okay. You did okay. How do you feel about it? I feel okay. Just okay.
You did okay.
Oh, it's great. All right. Refocus. Harold takes Juliet on a date. Bummer, because we don't like to see that. But she's disappointed because she wanted to do stuff in the city. And this is where the fact that they have different interests becomes a problem, because she kind of insults his interest. Like, in the way she talks to him about the things he cares about. She makes them seem like stupid or boring. And that's when it becomes a problem. So...
yeah.
Well,
which
and
was kind of I don't want to be like, it was a shame because I honestly didn't care for Julie all that much because I kind of felt like I don't know. I just wasn't too into her, which we weren't supposed to be into her anyways.
I was about to say, we're not supposed to like her. So,
but,
yeah.
I mean, like as a decent human being, I just kind of felt like Julie was a little too dismissive, you know? I mean, when you're trying to get to know someone, I kind of feel like you have to, I don't want to say you want to put on a show, but you at least want to be genuine and be like, well, your photos are beautiful, because you can't argue with that. You know what I'm saying? But she was just completely like, not interested.
Lesson 7 is next. Compromise. And beginning of this lesson,
Jess, we forgot to mention that as unfortunate as this date was and how she was disappointed with the idea of dancing at home to candlelight, that is what is the most frustrating to me about this thing is that woman. Oh my gosh, that woman does not know how dating works. Moving on. But the one thing I keep thinking I'm going to get off my romantic soapbox. It doesn't happen. The one thing that does happen that is a good thing is Annie gets recommended for the event planning job, because this is where this is where Julie, this is the one good thing that comes out of this date is Julie says, Harold, do you know any event planners? Well, funny you should ask.
Yes, so she gets the start in her industry, so that's great. And I love the scene too, where right at the beginning of this lesson, where he's taking photos of her at the playground. It was so sweet, and then he later makes a collage.
I never pass up a beautiful photo.
How can you not fall for him?
I don't know. I don't get it.
That's the thing of this movie. How Harold, you just.
And that made her feel special.
It made her feel special.
It did.
Check.
It's all playing out. And then he shares his passion with her because he's like, will you want to come with me when I take some photos? Great, I'll see you at 5. Wait, in the morning? That would have been me. We all know me. 5 in the morning. I could stay up till 5 and then go to bed. So not be waking up at 5 in the morning. But she goes.
No. He comes for her at 5 in the morning. Yes. She has to be ready. Mm-hmm. She has to be ready by 10 till so that he can come for her at 5 in the morning.
But it's a really great moment for them though, because she takes such a great interest. The magic, what do you call it? The magic light that he talked about?
Yes. Magic hour.
Golden hour.
Magic hour.
Magic hour.
Also known as golden hour, but that's good.
Yeah, and she's complimenting the photos. Like they're like, it's just perfect for them.
Well, and she's validating it. She's like, oh, I see what you were saying. Even though it's early and she's tired, she doesn't say one thing to knock it. You can tell that she's sleepy. You can tell that she's sleepy, and this is not something that she wants to do on a regular basis. But she totally validates everything. Oh, wow, I can see what you were saying. Oh, and
she appreciates him too.
Yeah, she totally
and she appreciates everything about what he's doing there.
Yeah,
especially because it is his passion.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and then they go back to the house and they have their dance. And this is where they have the second homecoming talk, where she remembers him walking her to her door and kissing, and he kissed her.
She's asking if it happened. She's playing out a scenario, like, this is what happened, right?
And this is my question. Why do you think she has such a mismemory of this? Like, is it just the ditzy thing? Like, why? Because I feel like you said you would remember something like that. Why does she have such a false memory of what occurred? Is it just wishful thinking? Like, it would make a better story if this is how this all played out?
I think it's because she's ditzy, to be quite honest with you. Because, like, I have a couple friends, not gonna lie, they are a little ditzy, and their memory is a little shady. And I'm like, girlfriend, that did not happen in high school.
She is taking her feelings for him now, and she's transporting them back to that time.
Kind of projecting, yeah.
Exactly. She is taking those feelings and she is projecting them onto that time. I don't think that she remembers it happening that way. I think she's just describing a scenario
But she hoped that happened.
that she hoped it happened, or that had happened with other dates. So it happened with every other guy. It must have happened with him too. I don't think that she's technically remembering it wrong. I think, yeah.
I also kind of wonder too if it's kind of that wishful, hopeful thing, because she's now realizing how much of a jerk she was to Harold back then by like not remembering him and then kind of avoiding him at the dance, even though he took her, and not even really remembering him at all. And I feel like it's an inner thing with Annie, and she's going, oh man, I was such a jerk. But I couldn't have been that much of a jerk, because remember, we've established at the core, Annie's a nice person.
Yeah.
And so it's conflicting with her. So I think part of it too is her going to Harold being, and she, in a way, she's trying to validate the fact that she wasn't a jerk, but she's not getting that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot more sense, I think.
Oh man. It's heartbreaking and adorable all at the same time when he reaches out a hand to her and says, Julie doesn't like this kind of music. You're the only one I can dance with. I'm like, oh,
be still, my heart.
I was like, oh, but at the same time, I was like, oh, yes. But it's so sad that the woman he is seeing doesn't like his. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
and it's starting to click.
It is starting to click with him, but then Matt Schneider's not here to steal you away. It's like, you're never gonna let me live that down. And probably not. Okay. This was almost just as hot as the kiss for yours truly over here. Dance with me. I was like, hello. I mean, when he says it, just gazing straight at her, and he drops down a pitch or two in his voice, and there's a gravelly kind of quality, and he
very
just
Eric Mabius.
Very Eric Mabius. I was like, and he just says, "Dance, come on, dance with me." Like, in through nose, out through mouth. In through nose, out through mouth.
Julie,
Tammy needs an oxygen tank.
How could you resist this man, Julie? You're an idiot.
I still do. I'm not going to go there again, because I'll just get off on another tangent.
This leads us, though, to our final lesson: follow your heart.
Oh,
Harold graduates. It's official. You're a heartthrob.
He's a heartthrob, even though his girlfriend was going, oh, are you done yet?
He takes her, and she's a terrible sport. She's late because she stayed out at the club too long, or whatever. Like, okay. And then she doesn't even appreciate anything. She's like, this was it? What?
I ruined my shoes.
Like,
well,
oh my gosh.
Then dress for it.
Dress for it, you moron.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So
this is where they realize, okay, they eventually break up, but we already know by this point it's over. But we also see Annie talking to Matt, and Harold gets a lot jealous.
A little lot.
He's like, whoa, it's a new side of Harold, jealous Harold.
This was really sad for me, because he reverted.
Mm-hmm.
He had grown so much. And, he joked about Matt Schneider not being there to steal her away. But, it was just for fun. It wasn't a dig at her.
Mm-hmm.
And then Matt Schneider shows up in the diner. I mean, this is the one time that Matt Schneider has shown up anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like this is the fourth sighting or something. Then I would be getting a little curious.
Yeah.
But, and Annie was not doing anything. I mean, she was patting his arm and smiling and quick hug and walk away.
How dare she?
I know. I mean, that's something I would do. That's something I would do with one of my guy friends. And I'm married. You know, I mean, I would do it. You know,
and
it's not,
and even if she was going somewhere else, she thinks he's taken. He's in a relationship as far as
that
she knows.
too.
That's
Yes.
true.
Yes, so that
Why shouldn't she?
that validates it, even if even though she was totally fine and innocent in her interaction with Matt, she would have been validated because she thinks that he's taken. So,
Harold.
Jeez, Harold. So yeah, he reverts. He reverts.
He needed an extra lesson.
Yeah, he needed some extra credit.
And of getting all the facts straight.
Yes.
But so we kind of wrap up quickly. Annie gets her apartment in the city because she's got these jobs now. She reconciles with her sister. Harold and Julie officially break up. And she goes to the big event where all his stuff's going to be featured. And he goes to see Claire to drop off a bunch of pictures he had taken of her. And Claire sets him straight, like, no, you dummy. She likes you, not Matt.
She didn't use those words. Okay, one thing about the breakup. Julie seemed disappointed that Harold was not more heartbroken. That's the way I took it. The way she's like, well, okay.
I thought maybe for a second.
Goodbye, Harold. I'm just like, what do you expect him to do? Beg for you to come back? The two of you have nothing in common. This is a friendly, mutual breakup. That's the best kind. Split and go. But instead, she's just like, fine. I'm like, you're angry that he's not blubbering all over the place? You know, come on. Another reason to not like her.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, Claire sets him straight. He goes to the event, and I will say this, for me, the ending was not my favorite. I don't really like declarations of love in front of roomfuls of strangers. Like,
no,
especially when it's her first business thing. Like, this is her work.
Annie told Mama that you were the man of her dreams.
So
that was in private, you know.
Yeah,
he found out in private. Why can't she? You know,
right? I felt like if he had taken her aside, that would have worked so much better. For me.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I watched it. I'm just like, that's how it ends.
Yeah.
Seriously? Oh, come on. I really think that he should have been all business, which he's very good at. He should have been all business out there on the dance floor, asked her to dance, and then pulled her out into the hall and then said, I think that this is the perfect choice for our song. So, what do you think? Her response of, I think you've got great taste in music, I was like, oh. When someone has just declared that they are in love with you, that's not what you say. But that's just me.
But yeah, so ending can use some work. But I mean, overall, like, Eric and Brooke just nailed their character. Like, their performances were so spot on.
They were so cute.
With the wrong writing and the wrong actors, this movie could have been horrible.
It really could have.
This is kind of a plot line that's a little, I don't want to say silly, but you know, it's more lighthearted. I mean, and
it is a little silly when you think about it. You know? Yeah, it's okay. We have fully accepted the fact that a lot of these plot lines are silly, but we love them anyway. You know, so that's okay.
But yeah, with them and the writing, I think that's what really made it. You know, it made it work, minus the ending that could have been done a little differently. But we'll let it slide because the rest of the movie was so great.
Can I just add one more thing? After that incredibly steamy kiss in the middle, I was a tiny bit let down with that kiss at the end. I was like, guys,
it's hard to top that, though, Cammie. It's hard to.
I know, but if they had been out in the hall, if it had just been the two of them, and he had declared that he loved her and that he wanted to be with her, not with Julie, there could have been more words and more passionate words exchanged there. And, I just see him taking her by the face. And, this was we're dancing, lean in, kiss, and we're dancing again. I'm like, really? Oh, come on. It was such a fabulous movie that the ending it fell short a little bit. And that was kind of a disappointing part. I'm just like, oh, this is great. This is great. Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah. All right, Postables, we hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as we like talking about it. But before we go, as always, we have to do our trivia.
Oh boy.
Here we go. Diving right in. Question 1. Who wrote How to Fall in Love?
Bart Fisher.
Correct.
Oh, baby!
Baby!
Number 2. What is the name of their song? And who sings it?
Billie Holiday, and no. It's coming.
No. It's wrong.
It's not. It's not Billie. No. Okay. Hold.
This is for my YouTube search, so hopefully I was right.
Oh, Dean Martin. You're nobody till somebody loves you.
No.
Dang.
I Want to Be Loved by Dinah Washington. That's what they dance to at the end.
Oh.
All right. Question 3.
Shoot.
Really, really hard one. I don't even quite understand this myself.
Then
anyway.
Why did you write it?
No, you'll see. Question 3. Claire is played by Jodie Thompson. She appears in a Signed, Sealed, Delivered episode.
Dark of Night.
Episode. Yes. Who is she in there? I could not figure it out.
She's the best friend. She is.
Okay, that's what I thought. But
she's the British best friend. And
I couldn't find a good screen grab of her.
Oh, yes.
All right, Michael. She's ours tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought she was one of the group at the party, but I couldn't find a good screen grab. So that's why I was like, Anyway.
Yeah, she's the best friend. You're welcome.
Yes. Apparently her name was Karen, I think. Yeah, Karen. Which I don't think
they didn't really say it, but
that's why I was confused. I'm like, there was a Karen? Anyway. Question 4. What color is Annie's car?
Gray.
Nope.
Blue.
Yes.
Good job, honey.
Two more. Number 5. What is the name of the blonde that Harold meets in the club and does not do well asking out?
I have it. I have this. Yeah. I have it. And I know I have this. Amy.
Yes, Amy. Last question. What are the 4 ingredients that we learn about that are in Harold's smoothie that he makes for Annie?
I got it. I got that.
There's a fiber. There's a green.
Nope.
There's pineapple, pomegranate, and coconut. That I only have 3.
And raspberry.
I got 3 out of 4.
You guys are really good. You guys are really good with that trivia. But yeah, so this was a lot of fun, Postables. We hope you enjoy this episode after our long hiatus and savor this episode because it's the only episode you will probably ever hear me gushing. So
savor everybody.
Yeah, somebody make something. Hashtag it. I don't know.
Gushy Jess. No, that doesn't work. We'll figure it.
Jess needs a fan. All right, Postables. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Deliver Me a Podcast. To stay up to date on all our episodes, be sure to follow us on Twitter @DeliverMeAPod and on Instagram @DeliverMeAPodcast. We also have a merch store where you can buy tons of postable things for you and your friends. We'll see you next week.